So I was painting this kit with the other color, but going through the without thinning, and I didn't like how it came out, especially because of the airbrush I was using at the time. But now I'm going to be using the Galaxy. I'm going to paint it insignia red and see how it looks overall. So let's see how. First, it's going to come out wet, of course. I'm going to paint it from a distance, and it needs more paint. I knew it did. Gotta do it again. Let me just pour it from here. More paint, more butter. Pour it in here for a second. Let's try it again. 3, 2, 1. Alright. This is one of the I forgot what tank this was from Dugram that I recently built, and I painted it with the other red colors, but I did it from the bottle and not thin it. Now I thin insignia red to see how it looks overall at a better coverage, because before it wasn't doing pretty well. I'm going to do from a distance here. Oh, this is coming out nice. A little too wet. I guess I'm going to have to redo it again a bit. But I'm going to give it an overall pass from a distance here. At least a decent coverage. You know, I haven't even tried this. From the bottle and not thin it down. Yeah, it's coming in too wet. Alright, we'll have to work on it later on. Let me continue testing this out. Okay, here are some of the kits that I finished painting using the Vic paints. Even though this one didn't come out the way I liked, I had to repaint it again. What I did was, since I was using water to wet it down, it didn't adhere right. So what I did was I began pulling it from the actual bottle itself, which I'm about to do right now. This is actually not wet. Let me give you a better one. We're going to wet this. I'm going to do it from here. Like that. There we go. Now I actually did exactly the same thing over here. It did cover up a lot of the gaps, but the paint did settle very well. So this is a good paint for hand brushing too. Airbrushing, yes, hand brushing as well. Continue on. Let me finish this side. Grab it from here because this is. There we go. And then when it dries, I'll paint the tires black. This leftover that I have here, I'm going to pass it over in the area of the gaps that I'm seeing where it's not doesn't have that much coverage. But very limited in streaking. Obviously, yes, streaking is the bane of all existence when you paint. So on something as solid as this, you're going to see streaking. But if you're painting a figure, you know, whether it's Warhammer or a 1/35th or 1/32nd scale figure for a model kit for a diorama, you can barely see it, so that's okay. And as you can see, this one is the airbrush version. You know what? I forgot to bring something here. Here we go. A little water so I can actually clean up my airbrushes. My regular brushes. I want to give some detail here with this. This guy came out pretty well. Yes, the painting of this is leather red, but it looked really nice. And I'm going to do the same thing what I did with this. I'm going to hand paint there's these little headlights there. I'm going to paint it regular blue. I'm going to wet this a bit, just to get nice and clean. And I'll pull it from here, from the little bottle cap. Oh, I must have my compressor on. Didn't realize that. See? Goes on nice. Nice and smooth. Alright, so I'm going to do a little bit of paint here. Well, it lands right there. That's good. See what else I can detail here. Or what colors I can use. Well, I have the NATO black, which I did pull out for this. Let me see. Him I don't know what to do with. Let's see here. Oh, okay, I can do that. Just figure it out. Let me just remove this. I don't know if this will work, but let's try it. The one thing I always don't have. I'm always a little nervous with this a steady hand. There we go. I'll just do this one here. I think that's pretty much it. Again, I'm not very good with steady hands, but I want to try this. See, this is the problem where with hand painting, when you print something, you have these streaks. Now, certain paints, when you apply it, they will self-level themselves. I think I read that these do self-level. We'll let it dry, and then we'll get back to it and see how it looks. Give it a few moments, okay? Alright, here are all the kits now fully painted using Vic paints. Detailed under here a bit with the hand brush. Didn't come out well because, you know, not the best steady hands, but I'm okay with this, not bad. I did mention before that the paint has self-leveling features, and when I was painting there, you can see that it did level off. This is after an hour, so that's really good. Put a little more detail on the feet and the tires, painted it black. Yes, this is a very, very good paint. Now, what are my thoughts? Well, first of all, If it wasn't for these paints, I would have not purchased my, and by the way, it's Gallery, not Galaxy if I said it incorrectly again. But it's, yeah, the Gallery airbrush, which is now my new workhorse, which I did mention in the previous video. But, are these Vic paints worth it? Unlike Mr. Hobby paints that we are so accustomed to, and other paints, this is an acrylic based paint where you really do need to know what you're doing. This is not something you can put it in a jar and paint and spray. You do have to prepare like any other paints. That's nothing special. The pigmentation, the quality of the paint, how it is sprayed on, works well. It can be airbrushed, but personally to me, after going through it, not something you would like to do all the time. Granted, as you could see, it does go on smoothly if it's properly thinned and balanced, and if you use a 0.5 millimeter nozzle, where it will go on the part pretty well. Yes, that is true. If you make an error, obviously you're going to need to go in and redo it over and again. But it will work. But I think its greatest strength is its ability for you to hand paint it. Paints like these are great for like smaller kits, more like military, ships, planes maybe. I've seen online, I've seen a couple of model builders use it on tanks and vehicles. I haven't seen anybody use it on anything like a Gundam or a mech or anything like that. It can be done. You just got to be very, very patient. It is a thick paint, and it is a very forgiving paint because even though it is great to use water as a thinner base, it cannot be used on anything else like the leveling thinners, as shown in my examples where the actual paint began to separate from the thinner. So it did affect my airbrush, but the minute I cleaned it up and I used water, it was smooth sailing from there on in. These are tests that I had to do and experience it for myself, and I'm showing it to you guys so you don't have to run into the same problem that I went to. Now, should you buy it? Well, the market of paints is vast. Not only we have, like, Mr. Hobby, we have Tamiya, we have Tester, we have SMS, Eleclad, AK Interactive, MIG Ammo, Vallejo, and other brands that are probably local to a specific country or location. That will work the same way. I would not mind, I don't advise buying something that is only like for like painting pictures on a how can I say that? Like if you go to a dollar store and you find a box of paints that you think will work, be careful, obviously, because it's not something to be using for airbrush. And you got to read the instructions to make sure it works for airbrush. These paints are excellent paints, yes, and at a very, very affordable price if you plan to order it from Hobby Link Japan. If you are a regular with Hobby Link Japan, go for it. You have no problem with that. But if you don't buy from Hobby Link Japan, I would go with other brands. Tamiya is a good brand. So is Vallejo in its own right. But if you plan to buy something from Hobby Link Japan and you come across sales, do not pass this up. Find the colors that you feel comfortable with. Paint it on for figures if you want. Minor details on certain kits like this. You have a whole series of options here with these type of paints, and it will work, especially airbrushed. Do I recommend airbrushing? That is something that you will have to experience it for yourselves. But I would definitely get it as a backup for other paint colors, as for another layer of paint going over another part, you know, small minor details and figures. That is where the strength on these paints lie. And I'm glad that I got them, because I'll definitely use them. They're very, very small, you know, obviously they're not as huge, vast amount as a regular hobby Mr. Hobby color paints, but they serve a purpose. And yes, I would definitely purchase these if you see them. I know that when another sale comes along, I'm going to be perusing the paint aisles online and see if there's a color that I have not seen before, or something that I will definitely use for a future project, which I will definitely be using for future projects as well. With that being said, this concludes my review of VicHobby paints from Japan. You can get them at Hobby Link Japan. I'm not going to post, I'm posting the link on the page on the site where you can actually go and do color matching if you like. Keep an eye out for any sales, especially now, you know, the winter sale may be coming along, and I will definitely make some recommendations if I see something. Again, thanks to Hobby Link Japan for having this for me to get. I hope you guys get your hands on it. And what can I say but stay tuned for more Tooltime with Stryderprime coming soon. You guys all have a great day.